Hi everyone, it's Monday at the Mystical Magical Mansion. Happy New Year! It is 2022, we made it, yay! I am so happy to see you. If this is the first time you're tuning in, my name is Kim. My husband Ryan and I bought this beautiful old mansion in the historic Gold Coast neighborhood of Omaha, Nebraska just over a year ago. And each week we share a little bit about our family, our story, our city, and we try to give you opportunities to learn, grow, explore with us. That's fun. We like to have a little bit of fun. So welcome to 2022. This January started out really cold, like it's very cold. That's why I'm drinking warm tea. And instead of a New Year's resolution and going back through all of the things that we did in 2021, I thought I would just tell you that I've started out the year in gratitude. That's what I've decided I'm going to do every day, just be even more grateful because, as you know, being unapologetically fancy means getting out your good things, doing all of the things that you want to do, using your good linens, your tablecloths, all those things, because we're not guaranteed a tomorrow. So today I am having tea given to me by my yoga students, and in my gratitude, I want to thank everyone who has so generously sent us or given us something special for the Mystical Magical Mansion. We have been gifted family silverware and linens and tablecloths and dolls and just the most beautiful things. And you know what? We love all of it and we're using all of it. Everything is out and on display and being used all the time because, one, we appreciate all of those generous things, which please, don't feel like you need to do that. But for those of you who have, we appreciate it so, so very much. I feel like we're the luckiest people on earth. And I think that is my goal this year, is to just stay in gratitude. We have a lot of fun hobbies and things we like to do here at the Mystical Magical Mansion. And so today you're going to get a look at a couple of those. It's New Year's Day and Ryan and I are both up to all the fun things that we like doing here at the Mystical Magical Mansion. So on the stove, I've got a pot of chili that I made earlier, got that going. And here on the radiator, I have my bread proofing. So I have some sourdough bread starter that, let's see if we can get a decent shot of that. Get a little bread rising. So I have a sourdough starter that I started about 4 years ago. My friend Christy, who is at True North Kitchen, which if you're not following her, you have to. She does all these Scandinavian recipes and her food is beautiful and amazing and wonderful. But she did a cooking class at my home and we started our sourdough starter back then, and I've been using it ever since. And it makes the best bread. So while that's rising and warming, my husband is up to something downstairs, so let's go take a look. Ryan! What are you up to down here? Oh, somebody's making beer.
Beer brewing.
So what are you up to?
Well, you can see outside it's cold and windy and snowy, so it's a perfect day to brew beer. So it's beer brewing day at the Mystical Magical Mansion.
Yay!
So I learned how to make beer a few years ago. Kim bought me a beer making class at a place called Patriot Brewing in Elkhorn. So if you ever want to go learn how to brew beer in Omaha, go there. And I learned how to do small batch beer making. And that was the whole boiling, getting the pots out, doing all that, fermenting, the long process.
Yeah.
Well, other companies have made this much easier for people like me who just don't have the time nor the effort or the ability to do all of that. So what I use is a beer maker.
And it says it right on it. Clever naming there.
So it's a company out of Boulder, Colorado that made this for people who just want to make small batches. Now this is ultra small batch, so this is only a gallon.
So you make 1 gallon of beer at a time.
Yeah. Typically, like in small batch brewing, you'll make 5 gallons. My old equipment that I had, which was Pico Brew, which is no longer around, which kind of stinks, it was a good company, they would make 2.5 gallons. But with that, you had to have kegs and transfer beer, and you really had to have the sanitation process down, because the enemy of beer making is contamination. It'll ruin your beer, and it takes a while to make beer.
What happens when it gets contaminated?
It goes funky. It gets skunky and it tastes bad. Okay. So anybody that's had a skunky beer, that's why. So nice thing with this is it's all enclosed. It is a closed system. So
it's like a Keurig for beer, right?
Kind of. What this is brew baskets up here. So you'll put your grains up in here. This then filters down into this main chamber, which is a big bag that's connected with a bag down here, which is the waste bag. There's a pad back here and a pad down here that will heat this and cool it. So once you get everything put in here initially today, I'll put all my grains in, which I'll go over the grains with you. Okay. And get the water in, you start it, this will then go through the mash process. Mashing is when you extract barley, the sugar from barley, when you boil it, so then you can ferment that sugar to make beer and alcohol. So that's the whole process of beer making. So you need 4 things to make beer: water, barley and oats, yeast, and hops for flavor. So we've got all that. Okay. And it hasn't changed in hundreds of years. It's been the same for hundreds of years. There's nothing really different other than ingredients. So I'll just kind of walk through the process of what we'll go through. So I've already got the initial amount of water put in here. So you load half your water first, put your grains in, load the rest of your water in, and then turn it on, hook it up to the internet, because everything's loaded to an app now. So yes, Beer Maker does have an app that it will walk you through this whole process. If you've never brewed beer before, it will show you step by step how to do it with theirs. And this will be my 3rd batch with them. They've all turned out good so far. Let's hope it continues.
Yeah.
So we'll just take off the lid and open our basket so we can add all of our grains. Now that we have scissors, we can open. So what I like about this company versus the other one that I had, the other one, Pico Brew, it all came in like a big, almost like a Keurig cup. So I didn't know what was in there. They never told you the ingredients. Hops were all in there. They never told you what kind of hops it was. It was just, here's the kit. And this kit, it gives you the whole recipe of what's in here, what kind of yeast, the hops, the amount of each, and the days that you will then add these. On the flip side, it shows you the name of what you're making, the description of it, the alcohol content, the bitterness units, and then the actual brew process.
Good. And full disclosure, this is not a paid.
No.
We are not sponsored by or have no affiliation.
I bought all this, so.
We just really like it.
Yeah. So, what we'll do is we'll add grains first. So, we've got barley, carafoam, and then flaked oats. So today we'll just be putting all of this in the brew chamber, adding the water, and letting the mash create sugar. Then tomorrow we will be adding the hops and the yeast.
Hops are what stink, right?
Hops, yes, and give it the flavor.
Okay.
So the part that you don't like is the smell of the barley when it's cooking.
Oh.
You don't like the smell of the barley. The hops is the second part, which, yeah, you don't like that smell. But this machine, as you can attest to, you can't smell it because it's all enclosed.
It doesn't smell it the whole house.
So your chances of contamination and spoiling it is really low. They tell you to wipe all this down and use alcohol wipes when you cut all this open, which I'll do tomorrow on the scissors. You don't have to do it when you do this because this is all going to go through a boiling process, which it won't matter anyway.
Okay, so that gets dumped in the top.
And then they also recommend...
What is this you're adding?
This is 2-row barley. And we're adding 1,000 grams of that. The nice thing is, with this company, they tell you what's in each one, so if you want to create your own and tweak it, you know how to tweak it and what to add. So So if you want to add more of this or less of that, you can.
Well, I can smell that one.
That was carafoam. This is just
Walnut grains.
regular old oats, just like you would make for oatmeal.
Interesting.
So then we'll spread that all around so it's nice and flat and even. So the water will get all over it. And then I've got all my...
This is a little snowy windowsill.
And beer making.
And beer making. So here's a really fun part of this is flipping the dough out of the proofing basket. And you can see these really cool rings that come from using this basket. So here is the finished product. Made 3 beautiful loaves of bread and one already had to be eaten. We had to get in there and have a little bread, butter, and honey because why not? It smells so good and it was delicious. Look how pretty they are. I really like this one today. It's just bread perfection. For my fellow readers, people who love history and people who love a little mystery, I was gifted this book, which it was on my list of books to buy for this year, and it is well worth the read. It is My Omaha Obsession, Searching for the City, and the author is this anonymous Miss Cassette. And so I would love, if anyone is connected to Miss Cassette or knows who it is or whatever, for them to do an article or a piece about our house, because the researcher, Miss Cassette, is relentless, loves a mystery, loves a good story, and this book is so well written. And I have followed Miss Cassette's blog and stories over the years about all of these buildings and places in Omaha that have a mystery or a story behind them, and I find all of it so fascinating and so intriguing. So highly recommend. And maybe this year, one of the things we could do is just kind of look and search out and explore some of the places and properties of Omaha listed in this book. But yeah, well worth the read. So if you love history, get this book.
So now it's time to pitch the yeast.
All right, how long has it been?
About, not quite 24 hours.
Okay.
Not quite 24 hours. So the machine has told us that it's all done making the wort. So we'll open this and show you what it looks like. So this is the wort. So this is the unfermented stage of beer.
So point to what you're talking about.
This liquid in here
in this bag. Okay.
is wort. Now this is a waste bag, so stuff will eventually drain down to here, particles and all that. But what we got to do now, that's why I'm making sure my hands are clean, is we've got to open this up. So we can drain the grains out so we can get the maximum amount of wort to make beer out of.
Wort, how do you spell that?
W-O-R-T.
Okay, the wort.
Just let that drip. That's all the grains.
They've all been cooked,
And
steamed, whatever they do.
And what this machine does is it pasteurizes it, so it takes a long time to do this versus when you do a traditional beer, you boil it.
Okay.
So when we add our hops, I am going to be adding what's called steam hops, which are pellets. Steam hops are able to be used at the end of a boil to add flavor. Normally when you do hop additions, you do it at certain times in the boil. You'll see things that'll say like 30, 60, and 90-minute hops, and that's at that certain point in the boil is when you add that hop. It's like a 30-minute hop, you add 30 minutes into the boil for however long your boil is going to be. So, but I'm using steam hops, so I can just add them all at the end. So I've got 30 and 60-minute steam hops.
So you're just draining liquid out of that basket. Okay.
Yep.
That's your whole basket of cooked. So is that going to go back in at all?
This is all done. So
okay, that's completely
you're
done.
like, what do we do with this now? You can toss it. You can dry it out and use it for feed. Like Colton has chickens, so I'll probably give it to him. Or if your wife is a baker, she could make bread out of this. There's whole recipes for making beer bread out of spent grains. There's a whole online thing about that. So what we'll do now is we'll add our hops and our yeast. And I keep mine in the refrigerator so they stay fresh when you're not using them.
So the company sends you these in these little packets.
Yep. So they have everything all set up for you, all set out. They also recommend that you use clarifying drops to help clarify the beer to not make it so hazy. So this is a haze and gluten reducer. Okay. And this is, I forgot what Aldac stands for, but they're clarifying drops, and you do it right now at this time, and then we pitch the yeast. So then while this thing sits here and ferments for the next 9 days, it'll do this vibration mode where it vibrates and all the particles and yeast and everything will come out of solution, go into the filter bag, and you'll be left with nice, clean beer.
Ah. And how do you know how much to put in there?
It says 3 to 5 drops.
You've got just this tub of liquid and then the stuff down in the bag, and that's
the wort.
That's the wort.
Wort.
Okay.
Wort is unfermented beer.
Okay.
Now this is beer yeast. So this is not like other yeast. You can't use bread yeast, you have to use beer yeast. So we'll use beer yeast. Sprinkle that all in there. And then we get our hops out. This is the best part, because if you like hops, you get to smell all the hops. So this particular beer comes with 3 sets of hops, and you do 2 different hop additions. So we do one now, and then we do a dry hop in 5 days. So these are El Dorado hops, these are Mosaic hops, and these are Citra hops. Just adds flavor and smell. So if you've ever had like a craft beer and it smells like grapefruit, it's not because they add grapefruit, it's the hops that smell that way.
It's so interesting because I didn't realize it smelled citrusy.
Yeah, smell this.
That doesn't smell like grapefruit to me.
Well, that one doesn't, but I mean, you're just smelling hops.
Okay.
See, smell this one now. It smells kind of citrusy.
Yeah, that actually does smell a little citrusy.
That's El Dorado. An interesting fact, where are hops certified in the United States? The University of Nebraska Lincoln School of Agriculture.
Really?
Yep. That's where they do all of the certification, smell this one, of hops as to what their percentage is, how clean they are.
Oh, that really smells citrusy.
Yeah. This is Mosaic. This is a very common hop used in a lot of beer making. So yes, University of Nebraska is where all the hops are taken to and certified. And this last one is Citra. Citra is really popular. It's probably more popular than almost all these. This smells, here, you don't want to smell it?
No, I trust you.
Okay.
I'm smelling all these hops. It smells hoppy.
It makes you hoppy. Get in there. There we go.
That doesn't seem like very many. I mean, that doesn't seem like a lot just for what?
Well, considering we're only making 1 gallon of beer.
Okay.
And this is the first edition. We're going to add a whole nother of these again in 5 days. So for just a gallon of beer, it's a lot of hops. Let me lock it all back up. I always forget to try to put the lid back on. I'll close it up, and then we tell it that it's ready. I'll confirm that it's talking to each other. So this phase is going to cool this down to 50 degrees, and it's going to do that for the next, oh, let's see, it's going to cool it down, and then at 8:50, or sorry, at 9, I can't even speak, around 8 o'clock tonight it'll be at temperature, and then it will sit there and the yeast will ferment for the next 5 days.
Okay, so then that ferments for 5 days, you said?
And then we're going to add more hops, and then we're going to let it ferment for another 5 days.
Okay, so
and then
when
it should
will
be
you
all
drink
done.
the whole beer?
In about 2 weeks.
Okay, so this is a 2-week process.
Yep.
So if you're thirsty...
That's why you have other good beer in your refrigerator.
Got it.
So, you come over to your other beer fridge and you go, hazy little thing IPA.
So it is Sunday morning and I've been procrastinating. As you can see, we've got coats and hats and mittens and things out all over the place, and I am in my snow pants because it snowed, but it is 5 degrees below zero and we have to go out and clear snow, and unfortunately our super efficient neighbors have already done that. So I'm gonna layer up and head outside and try not to freeze to death because it is so miserably cold. But hopefully we can get this done quick. Ryan's already out there with the snow blower, snow's flying, so hopefully I can give him a little bit of help. Okay, that's 4 set of stairs cleared. Whew, it is cold. It's actually really nice because there's no wind blowing. I mean, it's just a nice little layer of stuff, but it's cold. So I probably won't hang out outside too much, or I won't be doing any Winter Olympics. It's not my jam. I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, whew, sidewalks and snow clearing at the Mystical Magical Mansion. It's like, okay, not my favorite job. Thank you all and Happy New Year, Happy 2022. I can't wait to see where this journey takes us and what new adventures we're gonna have here at the Mystical Magical Mansion. For those of you who are subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't, please hit the like and subscribe button. But thank you for following along. Thank you for being our friends. Thank you for making our lives so interesting and fascinating, and I hope we can do more of the same in 2022. Best wishes from the Mystical Magical Mansion.